It's October the 17th, 2017, and I felt after watching a lot of videos on a disease that I actually have of chronic fatigue syndrome and the fibromyalgia. I want to focus today just on the chronic fatigue syndrome because that seems to be the one that causes me the most trouble today. Ever since 2005 in August, when I was working as a nurse and I was really injured badly with my neck here being broken, my shoulder as well, and other issues with my ligaments. It took 3.5 years for them to diagnose me properly because chronic fatigue syndrome, being an invisible illness, an illness that does not have any blood tests that actually prove that I am ill, I learned that I had been laying completely, totally ill from 2005 till 2007, not knowing what had hit me. And actually, what it was happening was that because of poor health care, because of very poor workman's compensation, and very poor understanding of what happens when someone is fighting a broken neck and broken shoulder and ligament tears, my immune system was crushed. As a result of that, I developed what they call chronic fatigue syndrome. For years, I'd met people as a nurse with chronic fatigue syndrome, and I had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. And I know now. For me, what I've had to learn over the past 12 years is how to pace myself. Um, Lately, pacing has meant doing something for 15 minutes, resting, doing something for 10 minutes, resting. My entire body actually feels like continuously, constantly, when I'm in what they call a flare up and extra stressed, is basically like having the worst flu, about 3 times over constantly for months, sometimes years for me on end. I don't think people realize they say get to bed early, you'll wake up early. Sleep is a nightmare for me because what happens is when I go to sleep, I actually am starting to feel better. But when I wake up in the morning, I can't get out of bed. Now, my head, my brain, it has what they call brain fog at times when I'm not even really noticing it. But it just basically means that I have a foggy brain. But the worst part of my morning isn't so much my foggy brain, it's my active brain. It's also my system saying, you need to get up, you need to get going, everybody else is. But, my body doesn't follow what my brain says to do. I lay here for 3, sometimes 4 hours. When I'm meant to get up at 9, running on 12 o'clock, I'm feeling really guilty of who I'm letting down. And quite honestly, I can barely get out of bed on days to where I can't even brush my teeth. And the good news about it is it's a flare, which means that when I give it time and I give it, time basically and rest, there are times when I have actual remissions, which is very confusing to people that I know. I didn't plan to have this. I don't want to have this. It's frustrating because my brain is on total go, 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 and my body is on total no, no, no. And I'm not kidding. From massive headaches, sinus infections. Right now I have cold sores all in my nose. I have sore throat, sores in my mouth, sore in my throat. Currently, even from stress, I've got huge highs all over my chest, which honestly is new, which is not a good sign for me. Um, Along with this malaise and this aching of my body as though I have the flu, even worse. And add to that I have interstitial cystitis, which is again part of chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. It's chronic inflammation of my bladder, and so sometimes I feel like I have to pee a lot, and I don't. And it's not a urinary tract infection. So yeah, I have like total achy body, and the fibromyalgia is basically a central nervous system disorder they have found out lately, and it kills my nerves actually in my feet and my hands, and it burns really bad too when I flared up. So currently, I'm making this video because I really, really want to put it out there to everybody. You know, I think the hardest part of having an invisible illness, along with a disability, along with really, really wanting to be part of everybody's friend and crowd, is that I'm truly sick every day for the past 12 years. And I still have it in my head that I don't want to let anybody down. But sometimes I have to admit that I let me down because I'll push myself to make another person happy, or two or five, right? And try to be normal, whatever normal. And what I honestly do sometimes is I'll crash and burn because I'm not able to keep up with society sometimes. Then that leads to feeling guilty and feeling sad. Excuse me. I've developed a cough and also chemical sensitivities. So I just want to put that out there to anybody that's listening, is that the first thing I know in my heart of hearts as I'm suffering right now, especially with these welts, which are new, which are definitely stress related, is that, I really want to be a joiner. I really want to be a part of people's lives. I really am and was responsible. However, I'm not reliable because I don't know from minute to minute if my body's going to move or not. And the pain that I experience in the mornings is just unbelievable pain. I can't peel my body off the bed sometimes. And so when I say to people, I really want to go to your party, or I really need to be where I need to be, I truly, in my heart of hearts, mean that. Unfortunately, my body just doesn't follow the leader. And I think the hardest part of having chronic fatigue, other than the obvious physical issues continuously, is forgiving myself, because I'm very hard on myself and I really, really want to be responsible, reliable, live in integrity with basic self respect for everyone. Sometimes, though, I just really don't know till the minute, the day, if I can or cannot do one, maybe two simple things, or push myself really super hard. Sometimes I have to kick butt. However, after the kick butt of 2 or 3 days, I may not be able to move. I don't know when I'll be able to move again. And there lies the issue with chronic fatigue, which relates down to a hospice situation. Hospice is basically there for those of us that may or may not live for the next 6 months. And the reason that I could possibly not live for the next 6 months with this condition would be the fact that currently I am a single white female person in my upper 50s. I don't have very much help at all. Zip. And the money to take care of me is not going to be there. So if I were to lay there without anyone to assist me and to not have any help getting groceries, cooking food, um, and taking care of my natural, what they call ADLs, which is basically, I used to know when I was a nurse, activities of daily living, like when I know I'm having trouble brushing my teeth, I probably should not drive. I feel like I let so many people down, and I don't want to. And at the other reason, I have to think, I have to do first things first because I have to take care of me first, or I'm not going to be on the planet. And so, therefore, hospice has been brought up to me because of the lack of assistance that I have at the moment and the lack of currency that I have at the moment to get the care that I truly need. Or I could face going to a nursing home. There are times when I actually kind of want to go to a nursing home, and I'm a nurse, and I know it's not a good idea ever. And there's times when I just want to give in to the hospice thing because it's just really way more than I can do myself. So I put this out there because, you know, I don't look sick a lot of the time. I don't tell people I'm sick a lot of the time. Doesn't help. And I really am a responsible, good woman and person. But I'm really, really sick. And so I think every single person in my life and every single person that left my life when I became this way. But realize that, as a nurse, I do know the criteria for hospice. I don't want to die, but I also do not want to be a burden. I also don't want to fade away from malnutrition and dehydration. I was just hospitalized for that for a day. And if it were up to me, I'd not have picked this. And the saddest part about it is it's incurable. So I own it. I do the best I can with it. I pace when I can pace. Sometimes pacing is just being honest and saying, I can't move. And learning from my successes